Okay, we shall start now. Now it's 2:02. Let's start. Let's get the class started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to lesson 2 of AOM3. So just do a quick sound check. Can every one of you hear me, see me, and see the slide? If you can do all these three, type a yes in the chat box. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Alan. Okay, that's great. All right, so let's resume the class. So yesterday we stopped at actually completed module 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So in module 4, we talk about the various methods that we can use to devise stratagems. So for the purpose of this class, we use this method, the Six Dragons method, the 乾卦六龙 as a platform to teach all the 36 stratagems. Yeah, so we'll use this method because I find that this method is easier to group the stratagem into the relevant and appropriate categories. Categories meaning situations. So for this Six Dragons method, we're actually relying on the 乾卦 hexagram number 1 to classify or to group all the 36 stratagems in according to line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what kind of situation would that be for each of the line? Is very easy to actually remember. We know that the hexagram lines start from bottom, right? Line 1 and then up to 2, up to 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 means the peak, the maximum. Okay, so when you're at line 1, meaning you're still new. When you're still new, your foundation is not strong, and you're pretty weak, or maybe you're small and things like that. So therefore we can call it as when I'm in a desperate situation. Yeah. So in that case, you can refer to 31 to 36, so on and so forth for the rest of the line. Okay, so for today's lesson 2, we will talk on what do you call that? Line 1. Okay, specifically talk about 6 stratagem under line 1. I'm in desperate situation. Okay, so that's the purpose of today's lesson. So are you all ready to get started? Type a yes in the chat box if you are. Now, in line 1, we're going to cover 6 stratagems, and these are the 6 stratagems that we will aim to cover by the end of today's lesson. Yeah, which are the 6? Is starting from stratagem 31. Okay, is 美人计 beauty trap, and then followed by 32 empty castle 空城计, followed by 33 double agent 反间计, and then 34 sympathy game 苦肉计, 35 interlocking stratagem 连环计. And I've mentioned 连环计 is actually a very, very powerful stratagem, and most scammers, professional scammers, they use 连环计. Yeah? Okay, and 36, disengage to re-engage, 走为上. So looking at the Chinese names, like for example, 美人计, 空城计, 反间计, all these names actually is no-brainer. It's self-explanatory what that stratagem is trying to tell you to do. Okay, so but then don't be too fixated into the meaning of the name. Like I mentioned yesterday, 借刀杀人, how is it derived? Probably it's derived from the first person who got inspired to use 借刀杀人 as a means to achieve the objective. So therefore, 借刀杀人, and they've been passed down. But that doesn't mean that every time we come across a 借刀杀人 stratagem, we have to go and look for a knife and we have to go and kill someone else. No need, not that sort. So we just use a name, be creative enough, have a growth mindset, think of something else that can that fit into the meaning, the essence of 借刀杀人, and use that to achieve your objective. Okay, so in line 1, when we are at line 1 means we are still weak, our foundation is not strong, so we maybe don't have support and things like that. So we are more like in a weaker position or in a desperate situation. So sometimes it can be strong, But because of the situation that puts you into a very desperate kind of situation, therefore you may want to consider yourself back to L1. Okay, so in that case, your intention, let's say when you're in a weaker position or you're in a desperate position, actually your intention is pretty straightforward, is you may be thinking about flipping the situation over. So when your intention is to flip the situation over to your advantage, then you may want to consider 31 to 35. But if you're thinking of preserving the yang means, like for example, you have been losing ground and you're left with 1 inch of ground, and so you want to conserve and preserve that 1 inch of ground that you have left behind. So you may want to use stratagem 36. Okay, so yeah, so basically these two slides, right? The earlier slide, this one, the condition and the intention, actually help to explain when should you look at line 1, when should you look at line 2, when should you look at line 3, right? But that doesn't mean that when you consider yourself in line 1, you only can go for 31 to 36. No, this is just a guideline. Okay, it help to give you the first kickstart to say that, okay, what should I do? How should I look at? Where should I look at? You can use this line 1, line 2, line 3 to help you determine where to look at first. Okay, but there's no harm for you to explore other stratagems. Huh? Okay, so with this, let us move on to talk about the very first stratagem, 31, called beauty trap or 美人计. Now, 美人计, I think pretty straightforward. The name already tell you it's called using 美人 to, what do you call that? To attract the opponent to do something. Okay, so let's drill deeper into 美人计. Now, I show this slide here are especially the Chinese portion here, on the left side, the Chinese portion, are the script written in the classic 36 stratagem book. Okay, so these are the text written in the classic 36 stratagem book. And I believe that whoever wrote this, right, it must be, what do you call that? It is writing in terms of what they have inspired from. I mean, the hexagram that they have and how does that inspire them to come up with their stratagem. I think this sums up everything. So let's look at this 美人计. It says here, 兵强者攻其将. 兵强者攻其将 means if the army looks strong, then we should attack the general. I mean, attack the king, the general, the number one man. 将智者伐其情. That means if the king, okay, if the king or the general is smart, then we should attack the emotion. Okay, 伐其情, 情 means emotion. So 将若兵兔其实自卫，利用御寇顺向保也. Okay, now loosely translated on the right side English. When faced with a strong team, try to tame the leader. When dealing with a resourceful leader, try to exploit his indulgence. Indulgence means the emotion part. When his fighting spirit falters, his men's morale will shatter and their force will be greatly weakened. So to conserve your strength, take advantage of your enemy's weakness. So the weakness here is what we are going after. Remember, we're talking about yin mo. We are leveraging on the yin part of the entire situation and we strike the soft spot. So we want to create a weakness in the enemy so that we can strike their soft spot and not any other normal person in the enemy's camp. We want to attack the leader. Okay, we want to attack the leader. So how to attack? And before that, when you look back at this text on the left side, the last line is in red. It's highlighted in red. Now, this highlighted in red, if you Google, the Google will point you to one hexagram. And what hexagram is that? Is 风山剑. Okay, 风山剑. 风山剑 number 53 hexagram. And look at line number 3, 小象. You can Google that on your own, but I'm just pulling out for your convenience. Is hexagram 53, gradual progression. line 3小项 it says that 夫真不富，离群丑也。富运不裕，失其道也。利用欲寇，顺向保也。See this red color? It rhymes here. Okay, so we have every reason to believe that the very first person who get inspired to come up with this 美人计 that person could have obtained this 风山剑 hexagram and then reading all the 爻辞 or the 小象 especially when he hit upon line 3小象 this one it gives him the inspiration to say oh 夫正不富离群丑也 basically what it means 夫 can means the leader. Okay, fu can means the leader, can means the husband, can means the number one man, you know, or the gentleman, whichever lah. Because anyway, I Ching always write in a very generic way. It is for you to go and pick up insights from what is being written there. So that person who come up with this 美人计 could have said, oh, fu could means the leader. And what to do with the leader? Leader is 负真不负 that means lure or drift the leader away from the man. 离群 means drift away from the man so that the man morale will drop. Okay, so after that, then you can strike the soft spot. So basically, this is what it means. And if you see 风山剑, for example, you want to cast a card, pick a card on prediction, or you have a prediction 卦 and you have a 风山剑, and you're thinking of a stratagem to move, you may consider 美人计. Okay, so this is how we fill up the gaps for the prediction part to say that, you know, we can analyze the qua, we can tell what has happened before, but we can't really put in pinpoint down what should we do forward. Okay, so this could give you the kind of forward-looking information to say that, hey, why don't you explore 美人计? Okay, let's take a look further. If let's say you have a 卦 like this, right? A 卦 like this, 天地痞风山剑火地镜. This was one of the case that I got for a client, and then we got this 天地痞风山剑火地镜, right? So if you analyze this 卦 from a practitioner point of view, it can mean that, for example, this kun 卦 can represent self. Self means the client, okay? And then 乾卦 could means the opponent. Now, you being the kun 卦, opponent being the 乾卦, you are at the losing end. All right, and then the process 卦 is a 风山剑, okay, 风山剑 and then after that is a 五爻动, 五爻动 it become a 火地镜, right? Then 火地镜 what it means is advancing. That means suddenly you cannot move. Toppling means choke pipe. Choke pipe, I think we talked about that in AOM1. When you see toppling means it's like a choke pipe, you can't move. And therefore, if you want to move, you have to break up the fifth line from a yang line to a yin line. Okay, from a yang line to yin line. So basically, you need to introduce a yin in the fifth line. Okay, and fifth line represent the leader, the king. So probably this is where that person who came out with this 美人计 think about have to drift the leader and use what to drift the leader? Use the yin to drift the leader. So yin to many people it means a lady. Okay, ladies. So meaning using lady to go and drift the leader or to attract the leader or to lure the leader or contaminate the leader, whichever you want to say. And then Li Gua here can means pretty. Right? So it can means using a pretty lady, a beauty, to trap the leader and drift him away from his team so that the team morale will shattered. And then that's where it create the soft spot, and then you attack that soft spot. Right? So therefore, if you see a 风山剑, you can think about beauty trap. And if you see a 火地镜, you probably can also think about a beauty trap. Right? So this is one case study. That's why I can tell you now that it inspired me to think about when I see 火地镜, we can actually look at beauty trap also, in addition to 风山剑. Okay, can follow me? Now, if I were to ask you, um, growth mindset and creative, name, just type in the chat box, name one way of beauty trap that you can think of, that you have experienced before or that you have seen people execute in that manner before in modern days context lah. Just think of one, type in the chat box. What could take in the form of a beauty trap in today's context? Alan says sell a car by sales girl model. Thank you very much, Alan. That's right. That's right. 香车美人. So you find that car sales, when we have car exhibition, you find that we cannot run away, or the organizer will not run away with pretty models. Okay, pretty models. Very good. Very good. This is called one of the examples of 美人计. Very good. Pepe says spend above certain amount to get $5 shopping mall voucher. Got condition to spend voucher. Okay, can using the $5 shopping mall voucher as like a beauty, okay, to attract people to get it, to spend above certain amount. So very good, Pepe. Yes, something like this. Okay, so it could be. It depends on. When you want to use 美人计, I notice you need to know that soft spot. Remember, we said just now this script says 罚其情. 罚其情 means exploit his indulgence. Okay, exploit his indulgence. So first thing first, if you have a target that you want to create a soft spot, you need to know what is he fond of indulging in. Okay, what is he fond of indulging in? Otherwise, you'll be using the wrong beauty. You get my point? Okay, so Alan said tour company show attractive scenery of a place of interest. Very good, very good. Okay, so for tourists, of course, they want to go to a place whereby there are a lot of attractive scenery. So the indulgence is in the attractive scenery. Now, if a tourist who want to go to a specific country just to gamble, you can't show attractive scenery. They are indulging in the wrong thing, and you're showing the wrong beauty to the wrong person. So you should be showing pictures and videos of casinos to the gambling tourists. All right. So we must first know what are they indulging in first. Okay. So Paul saying, Zelensky and USA, I'm sure he's offered something more from USA. I'm sure. I think so. Okay, I think so. Otherwise, you look at Zelensky's behavior and why he did what he did. I think it was a bit, I don't know. I wouldn't want to comment, but I think you could be right, Paul. Okay, so we need to know the indulgence first. So, 来来去去, there are only quite a few bit of indulgence in the modern society now. Number one is lust. Lust. Okay, when you say lust means physical contact physical intimacy lust. So if the indulgence is in lust, then beauty trap that means you have to go for what do you call that, pretty lady and things like that okay. Or if it's greedy for money, okay, greedy for money, then you can use, for example, bribery scam all sort of things because we know that they are indulging in money. That means they have a greed. Okay, or if someone is indulging in gambling. Now, gambling and having money is two different things. Okay, so I know the intention of gambling is to go to have money, but then sometimes it's like going for drugs like that. Gambling, okay, or drinking addiction. Some people just like to go for drinking addiction, or karaoke. Okay, karaoke, or many more. So we must first know, in order to execute this 美人计 well and perfect, we must first know the opponent, what is he indulging in first. Okay. So the key, the condition here to be effective is the key is the beauty selection. Not anything can be used as the beauty. When I say beauty, I don't mean the person. Okay, I mean anything that you are using to go and attract the opponent, right? So for example, shopping mall voucher for those who like discounts one. Okay, shopping mall voucher will be very attractive to them, or attractive scenery for those who like to go and see nature one. That will attract them. Okay, so the beauty must be able to be fit for the purpose. In Chinese, called 投其所好. If I like golf and you show me tennis, it won't attract me. You get my point? You got to show me some golf related things. Okay, or bring me to golf, or buy me a golf set, or bring me to the most prestigious golf club or course, then I'll be attracted, something like that. Or the beauty must be able to exhaust the time, exhaust the resources, exhaust the finances, exhaust the fighting spirit, or exhaust the morale. Okay, so that this sort of exhaustion can create that soft spot for you to attack. Okay, clear about that? So 美人计 warning is please use it with integrity lah. For example, that's how we talk about if someone is indulging in having greed for money, and you're considering bribery, please don't. Please don't. So use it with integrity. Think of something else, okay? Don't talk about bribery, don't talk about corruption and things like that. Think about something else that is with integrity one, or that has moral standing one. Okay, otherwise it can backfire easily. If you go the PN, the side door one, it can backfire on you very, very easily. Okay, good. So far, any question? You know how to use 美人计 right now? There are certain conditions. Not having a pretty lady means it's a 美人计. Okay. Examples. Personal level. So from time to time, I will dig out personal level case studies, or national level, out there that's happening, or even on a global scale, what is happening out there, what are they doing, what are they using. I will, when I come across them, I will share it with you in class. So this is on a personal level. So this client was renting a place. All this while has been renting a place. So suddenly the landlord want to increase the rental fee by a lot. But this client is hoping that the landlord will try to reduce, or maybe stay put lah. Don't increase, but at least stay put lah. Okay. So this client wrote to me, say, morning, Master Yo, my current lease at this place is going to end on when? And then the landlord is asking for many, many times more to renew. I've rejected. Current lease is at this price. Will he reduce to this price? Could you do a prediction and see if I should wait or look for other places? Okay, so I got a qua for him. For her, sorry, for her. And it's 天水送. Okay, 天水送. So I will show you how I approach this qua. I got this qua and how I approach this qua, and I come out with a stratagem advice for my client to make her next move. Okay, so I'm showing you an example, a very classic example of the power of hexagram inspired stratagems. Yeah, are you ready? Type a yes in the chat box if you are ready to follow me with this case. Okay, like I say, I casted a gua and I got a 天水送 for her. Now, 天水送 meaning dispute, arguing. So this describes the current situation, right? Having dispute about the rental fee, the next renewal rental fee. So what I do, remember, yesterday I showed you one way to cast a gua is using this kind of cards, and then randomly you can pick up one card, for example. So perhaps, let's say, for example, this case, you picked up the 天水送. Okay, 天水送. And we know song means dispute. And then what we can do is that this card is so fabulously designed is that it shows you 4 hexagram at one go, and these 4 hexagram energy are all interrelated. That means you can read these 4 energy and relate back to the question or to the case. So in this case here, if I flip this 天水颂, I will get a 水天虚. Okay, 水天虚. And then if I flip the yin yang, okay, yin yang meaning if it's a yin line, I flip into a yang line. If it's a yang line, I flip to a yin line. So 水天虚, when I flip yin yang, I got this one, 火地静. So for 天水颂, when I flip yin yang, I got a 地火明夷. All right. So whether how you go, if you get 地火明夷, you turn it upside down, you also get back 火地静. So this 4 is in a way interrelated, and you can pull out insights regarding this case. I hope you can follow me on that. Let me know if you can. So then, if I have this 4 hexagram, all I have to do is to extract out insights. First of all, we already know that 天水颂 means there's a dispute going on. And if you turn it upside down, 水天虚 means there is a needs. So it could mean that landlord may have a need or a unobservable need that so far it has not been surfaced to the level that can be observed. Okay. Why I say that is because 地火明夷 means there is a hidden. Darkening means that the light is under the ground. So that means there is a hidden need. And this need could refer to the landlord need. Like I say, it's not easy because different people looking at this 4 hexagram will come up with different insights. Right? So that doesn't mean that if you have come up with different insights, you are wrong. I have to be right. No, I could be wrong. You could be right. Or both of us could be right also. Okay? So this is what I get to see at that point in time. So in order for us to be able to move, to help my client to move, to have advancement, all I need to do is these hidden needs, right? Turn it upside down. Turn it upside down, you get the 火地静. 火地静 means advancement. So just now we talk about the 火地静. We say that we can think about 美人计. Okay, 美人计. So therefore, straight away, I told my client, in addition to some other comments from the Gua, I say, why don't you think about using 美人计? All right, to help you achieve your objective. Now, let me throw the ball back to you. If you're the client and I'm the master here, and I say, you want to pay extra for the rental fee, right? So in order to achieve your objective, why don't you think about some 美人计? Now, put on your thinking hat and think of what kind of 美人计 can you use. So I found you the container, and the container is called 美人计. Now it's your turn to fill in the content. That is a challenging part because that will depend on how much you know or your circle of competence you have with regard to that subject matter. In this case, is the rental. Okay, so the ball over to your court. Can you think of any 美人计 relating to this case? Type in the chat box. Pepe say offer the landlord to do it between them to save the agent commission. Very good. Very good. Okay, very good. So that means right now, I think for most people, they go through agent and then they have to pay the agent some commission. So in this case, the indulgent is saving up the commission, right? So very good. Yes, this is what I wrote back to her. I say throw in a bait for him to bite. AKA 美人计 blah, 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 blah. So she went back, she think about what to fill in into the container. Okay, and then she said, okay, I'm an agent also. I can use back the same contract to extend another year. He won't have to pay agent fee. So to the landlord, sounds nice. Okay, so which is about half a month commission now. So okay, good. So to me, I know from a third party point of view, I think that maybe this could be a good bait to use. So I say, go ahead, let's try it out. Okay. So after a while, she wrote back to me, say that, hi, Master Yo, everything went well at the same price without the agent without the agent. So done. Okay, done. So she used this stratagem to help her achieve her objective. You get that? All right. Okay, so now you know how to use 美人计, but people also may know how to use 美人计 against you, right? So in order to protect yourself, you don't fall victim easily lah to 美人计. Now, how not to fall victim to 美人计? There are few advice here. Number one, okay, if you are in a relatively superior position, you should take note that you could be easily targeted for 美人计. Why? Because when you're in the superior position, you tend to get complacent. You think that you are untouchable. You think that nothing will go wrong for you because you're in the superior position. Then that is where you could be very, very wrong, right? Because they are trying to create a soft spot for you, yeah. Or your opponent is in a very, very desperate situation. bo pian ah. The best way is to use 美人计 on you, okay? Or you have soft spot for specific things. For example, lust, greedy for money, or greedy for wine, greedy for karaoke, okay, or golf, gambling, drinking, special treatment, or special privilege. All these indulgence, okay, is actually creating the best spot for opponent to come in to use 美人计. Okay, then you may step into the trapdoor of hexagram 5, which is 虚卦. Now, if you can recall 虚卦 in AOM1, it has these two statement to offer you. Say that every time when people offer you something, offer you a 美人, a beauty, you must always ask yourself these two questions. Should I have it? Can I have it? 该要不该要？能要不能要？ Okay, and if you can answer these two questions, I think that will keep you in a very safe spot. You won't be creating unnecessary soft spot for your opponent. Okay, so remember these are hexagram 5. So I'll give you examples. Former AMKTC, I think this was a while already, 2019. Amokyo Town Council General Manager jailed for overgraft offenses. Now, what happened here? Booty trap being used by the vendors. Okay, 13,500 discount on Toyota Corolla Altis sold to Wong. Okay, I mean that guy lah. So you see, this 13,500 discount, they want this general manager want cheap thing or one discount, okay, indulging into discount. So what 13,500? Wow, okay, great. Okay, so and then payment to Wong's mistress is total 27,800. Oh, got mistress. Okay, so need living expenses. So just nice, 27,800 comes in just nice. So indulging. Entertainment expenses such as those at KTV, lounge, and massage parlor amount to 34,000. Again, free use of mobile phone line, indulgence. Okay, so again, the two questions in hexagram 5 will save you a lot of trouble later on. 能要不能要？该要不该要？ So if this Wong, this general manager, had asked himself these two questions, I'm sure none of these would be successful. You get my point? So I believe that is why many years back, LKY suggested that we cannot underpay and then argue that their sole reward should be their contribution to the public good. I mean, to the MPs and to the ministers, especially ministers. We cannot underpay them because by underpaying them, we are making them easily succumb to 美人计 咯, right? Okay, prevention. Always stay vigilant. So I'm showing two sides. One is you are the user of the 美人计. What you should do, what are the conditions to make sure that this will go well, the user. And I flip over to the other side to say that what happens if you become the victim of the 美人计, and how can you prevent being a victim? So these are 4 points here for you to take note that you can actually do some prevention. Not to fall as a victim. Number one, always stay vigilant and alert to possible inducement. I use the word inducement. You can sense it. Like if people give you something like free lunch or free this one, free that one, or special privilege, those could be inducement. Then quickly invoke hexagram 5, that two questions, 能要不能要，该要不该要。Just take note, no free lunch, no free lunch, no such thing as free lunch. And then don't react lah. The moment you see 34,000 discount or on the car, or you react straight away, say, okay, I'll get it. Jialat, you get trapped already. Always learn to respond. How do you respond? Ask yourself the two questions from hexagram 5 first, then you respond. Okay. Always stay in a 无咎 position. 无咎 position means no regret, no blame. All right. In that case, when you can do this for, you actually can prevent a lot of unnecessary 美人计 problems. Now, in case you find yourself already been victimized, all right, somebody already acted on you and then offer you this, offer you that. If you want to counter measures, these are two things that you can do. Number one is 假吃不掂. 假吃不掂 means act blur lor. Act blur, and as though you don't understand what they are offering, or you act as though you never listen the most important part, that they are offering 34,000 discount here, discount there. Okay, act blur. All right. Or 反间计. 反间计 means double agent, means you take the money but you report police, or you report to the whoever lah, CPIB or whatever lah. Or this called 反间计. Okay, so like I say, I don't really like 反间计 because if you don't do it well, you can get yourself into much more trouble. Okay, so act blur will be the best lah. Oh, sorry, I don't understand what you're trying to do with 34,000. I better don't take it. Something like this. Can? Okay, like 反间计. There's another example here that I'm showing you here in these slides here. Is women scams love scammer. Now, this woman was actually a victim of the love scammer. But this woman happened to realize that the other party is a love scammer, and she in turn scammed the love scammer of 50,000. This is called 反间计. Okay, double agent, 反间计. But because the way she's doing it was morally wrong, okay, therefore she got herself into trouble. And then the scammer 反间计 get scam herself. Okay, so the scammer want to scam her, she scammed back the scammer, and then she got scammed again. Okay, so it's like, wow, very messy. Okay, very messy. So far, clear about this 美人计, how you can execute this 美人计. If you are clear so far about 美人计, the first strategy that we're talking about today, type a yes in the chat box if you're clear and you're following me up to now, so that I know I can follow up with the next strategy now. Thank you, Alan. Okay, let's move on to second stratagem, stratagem 32, empty castle, 空城计. Thank you, Fiona. 空城计, empty castle. By the name itself, I think you should know that it means like I open up the whole open house, right? But empty one. When do we use this? Let's talk about it now. So as usual, I'm going to show you what is in the classic. It says here on the left side, 虚者虚之，疑中生疑，刚柔之计，其而复其. Loosely translated on the right side, display your weakness deliberately to confuse the enemy. Okay, that means you display your weakness, or deliberately to confuse the enemy so that he's puzzled or tricked and causing doubts and uncertainty. So when your force is desperately inferior to your enemies, this stratagem can turn the tide. Remember, you want to flip when you're very weak, you want to flip the situation. So 空城计 could be a very good way to flip the situation, but it comes at a very high price. Okay, so basically here what it means is you want to display your weakness. You know you have this weakness. You think that the opponent also know that you have this weakness. So what you do, you deliberately display this weakness. Okay, then the other party may think that, hey, are you sure you're displaying so honestly or not? I think I better think twice whether I want to attack you. So what we're trying to do is displaying the weakness so that the opponent could be puzzled or tricked or causing doubts and uncertainty. Now it comes from 雷水解 number 40. Okay, so 出六小象，刚柔之际，宜无咎也. Loosely translated, use the yin to support the yang. That means use your weakness to support your strength and use it from the position of no regret. Meaning that if you really want to use this stratagem, you don't regret later on. You get my point? If you can flip the situation over, good for you, bonus. If you cannot flip over, please don't regret your decision to do this stratagem. Basically, this is what it means. 无咎，亦无咎也. So when you come across hexagram 40, untangling, you can straight away relate to 空城计. There are variations. I'm going to share with you variations. I've seen people using this kind of variations in the form of 空城计. So if you can think of any, type in the chat box so that every one of us, can benefit from your sharing. So number one, deliberately display your weakness to conceal your true vulnerability. For example, you could be afraid of darkness, which could be your weakness, which you could be very scared of telling people that you're actually afraid of darkness. But in certain situations, when you use 空城计, you deliberately tell people, hey, seriously, I'm scared of darkness. Don't play this sort of trick on me, okay? This is called deliberately exposing your weakness. Or putting up a brave front. That means you could be very scared, but you purposely put up a very brave front. So this is a reverse 空城计. You not display your weakness, but you display the reverse of your weakness. Means a brave front. I'm brave. I'm courageous. Okay. Or you appear resilient when you are fragile. Purpose is to deter attack. Or you appear fragile when you are resilient. The purpose here is to ambush. There are many more. Can anybody think of any more new variations? Feel free to type in the chat box. Now, can you think of any country that uses appear resilient when fragile? Can you think of any country? So far, what this country do to show people that this country is very resilient, but actually they are very fragile? Can you think of any country like that? Pepe say SG, National Day. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. SG, little red dot. All right. So we have to put out a very brave front and to show we are very resilient and total defense. Okay. But actually, we are very, very fragile. So therefore, SG, okay, since Pepe says SG, okay, very good point. So therefore, we have to show the whole world, we have the capability to do anti-terrorism, to deal with terrorism. We have what do you call that? This military powerhouse, things like that. So don't play with us, So we are actually putting up a 空城计 as well on the national level, 空城计. There are many other countries doing the same thing as well. But the condition for this stratagem to be very effective, number one, element of surprise. Okay, so it gives, it hides the element of surprise. Say, for example, SG, we show them that we can deal with anti-terrorism. We show them that we have this airplane, fighter plane, that fighter plane. We have this tank, that tank, or submarine or whatsoever. So we are actually putting up a question mark on the element of surprise for the enemy, okay, for the opponent. Say that if you only can try us out, okay, you can try us out, you may be whatever happened. Okay, so next is use from position of no regret law, meaning since we have to Singapore SG government has to use this approach. Then if really for people attack us, even if we lose for whatever reason, we can't regret doing what we have done. Okay. But at the same time, we have to exude an aura of confidence. We cannot be displaying parachute or aerial display or whatever tank display, and then the tank what do you call that, break down halfway during the display, cannot move. You get what I mean? Okay, so we have to assert the kind of confidence and capability that we know what we are doing, we can do it, and we have that capability. Okay, so the best time to use this stratagem is when enemy is also ever suspicious and ever careful. 惊死惊输 that kind one enemy 啦空城计 is the best 啦 okay, so this is actually a type of psychological warfare. Warning can fail miserably because if let's say during the exercise and whatever we display that out of 10 tanks, 9 cannot work one, or 8 cannot fire properly one, or all bobo shooter one, jialat. When people saw that weakness, they will know that we are actually bullshitting. Okay. So actually, this one we recommend not to use it twice in a row. It's like cry wolf kind of situation, right? You keep crying wolf, one fine day you cry wolf, also nobody will heal you. So you can do it once, but if you do many times, no use really. When I say many times means, for example, if let's say SG, we show a deterrence, right? We show our resiliency, right? But if let's say there's touch wood, we got under attack and we lose out big time, the next time when we come back again, we try to use this deterrent, it may not work that well. This is what I'm trying to say, yeah? Don't fall victim. Again, when you are in a relatively superior position, that means you complacent, no? Or when your opponent is in a desperate situation, same thing, too desperate, nothing to do, nothing to lose. So I show hand. Okay. So and also if you are those kiasu kiasi one, ever suspicious one, ever careful type one, then you may fall for this stratagem very easily. 空城计. Prevention. How not to fall victim to other people's 空城计 is you do your homework. Okay, you do your homework, you do data collection, and you analyze. Look behind the scene. Remember, in AOM, we already learned that whatever we are seeing are observable and what people want us to see. But we must always strive to look for the unobservable. That will give us a balanced view. If worst come to worst, cast a prediction qua and see what the qua tells you. Okay. Countermeasure. You can use 13 or 17. 13 is 打草惊蛇. So let's say, for example, let's talk about Singapore. Since Pepe talk about Singapore. So Singapore, we show that we have this military might, right? We have this military capability. Other country may want to use 打草惊蛇, hit the grass to startle the snake to see how we respond. You get my point? That's like Taiwan and China. That's like Taiwan and China. Send the military so near to the straits that side, and then you see how people respond. This is called 打草惊蛇咯. Or 抛砖引玉. Stratagem 17. 抛砖引玉. I mean you throw something and see whether they get hooked up to the brick that you throw at them. I give an example. 抛砖引玉 example as a countermeasure. So let's say it's between this Peter and John. John is a salesman. So this salesman, John, is trying to convince Peter to buy the expensive massage chair. Okay. So Peter was trying to use 空城计 to respond and say, sorry, I got no money to buy this so expensive massage chair. So Peter used 空城计. Now, John being a seasoned salesman, right? I'm sure he has already prepared a lot of countermeasures to 空城计. So one of the countermeasures he used is 抛砖引玉. So John reply back to say, oh, I understand, you got no money. But I would like to add that you can take home this massage chair today for just $1 down payment. Wow, sounds good, right? I throw a $1 down payment for you to grab. And then after that, you bring that back already. Maybe you're lazy to bring it back, okay, and return. So maybe go for installment. Okay, so Peter says, sounds good, I'll take it. Right? So you can counter 空城计 with 抛砖引玉. But of course, finding the container, what to counter back is easy, but filling in the content of the container can be challenging. Right? But that is where we start to grow because, with more practice, you get easier for you. Question so far? This is 空城计. Right? If you're good with this 空城计, then let's move on to the next one. Double agent 反间计. 反间计 is a very troublesome stratagem I rarely use. But if you are game for it, you can try. But it's very difficult to use. Okay, so what it says here in the classic say 疑中之疑，彼之内不自私也. Okay, so it says deception within deception. Now deception is already very messy. Now we say deception within deception is even more messy. Use the enemy spy to spy for you, and you will not lose the battle. Wow, this one, cheap. So it comes from 水地比小62小象，比之内不知私也 means keep the enemy close. So if the enemy sends spy on you, you keep the spy close to you. Basically, this is what it means, and leverage on that spy to help you achieve your own objective. So 水地比 right? This one 水地比. There was once ever I have this quote also. All right. So let's take a look. 水地比 then the process squad is peeling 三地波 and then second line change and you get a 砍卦. Okay. 砍 is already deception. It means deception. Okay, deception. And then by changing the second line, you actually make it into double deception. Double deception. That means two spy. Two spy means 反间计 咯, double agent 咯. Okay, so when you see a 砍卦 like this, it could be a double agent. When you see a 水地比 here, it can also means double agent. Can you think of any double agent variations? Can you think of any in today's context? If not, then I show you some. There are many kinds of agent. We don't talk about James Bond, okay, or the Cold War, that kind of era, about those spies and secret agent and things like that. We talk about today's context in normal daily living type one. There are actually some various kind of agent that we can look at. I call it the type of spies in today's context. One is called the local agent, meaning your old connection, your classmates or your friends, who knows another friends, right? So for example, you want to know something about A, but you don't want to ask A directly, but you know B, who is a very good friend of A. So you may want to use this B as a spy or as an agent to ask the B about A. So this is double agent also, okay? Agent. So it can be like, for example, old connection, classmate or friends, or if it's an inside agent, means people from inside, right? So maybe a company, the staff there, or police, someone in the police department, something like that. Look for those who have resentment or are demotivated, pushed aside, or under difficult circumstances. You can look for them to get for help. Okay. Double agent trained and infiltrated by competitor and have him report back. This one, don't play with it. Doom agent are expendable agent. That means you push the agent in and you're willing to sacrifice the agent one. Also, don't do that. Expendable agent. Surviving agent is agent that you send to your competitor. So there are various kind of agent here. And I rarely use this strategy because it's very, very messy and very confusing. sometimes I lost track also whether the agent is on my side or on their side. So better don't. Now, if let's say you're a victim of double agent, okay, just be careful what kind of damage they can do to you. They can send agent in to plant seed of discords. That means 挑拨离间 or seeds of discord, or they can come in to spread fake news, or they can come in to try to retrieve vital information from you. Okay, so they can do this kind of damage to you. So just be careful. How to prevent? How to prevent is you can always look back at hexagram 2.4. 2.4 means kun kwa. Hexagram 2, kun kwa, line number 4. Line number 4 says keep a tight lip. Can anybody remember what it means by keep a tight lip? Can anybody remember? Type something in the chat box if you can remember what we talk about in 2.4. Anyone? Basically, what it says here, keep a tight lip means, let's say, kun kwa. Line number 4. Okay, line number 4 means you have already grown in the organization up to a point whereby you have certain status and position, and you have access to privileged information. Now, when you have access to privileged information, that's where people will try to come to you to retrieve information that they need. So if your mouth is very loose one, when people ask you A, you give ABC, you'll be in deep shit trouble lah, because you can be easily be a victim of this stratagem, 反间计. So what it says here, 坤卦 number 4 means keep a tight lip, don't anyhow share, and only share on a need to know basis. So Pepe say retrieve info on a need to know basis, very good, so that the other party won't have full story. Very good. So if let's say you have this piece of information, okay, this piece of information, and then A come to you, B come to you, C come to you, and ask for some information. Now, what you can do, if let's say they have legitimate reason to ask from you for information, what you can do is, A only need to know this part, so I give this part to A. B only need to know this part, I give this part. C only need to know maybe the last part, so I give C the last part. So when A, B, C come together and piece together the information that they get, they will not get a full, complete picture still. So even though the information may leak, it may not link it back to you that easily, because it's not the full picture. All right, so just remember 2.4 hexagram. Tight like a closed pouch. This is what we talk about in AOM1. Okay, countermeasures. If let's say you found yourself to be a victim of a 反间计, now these are the countermeasures that you can think of. And if you can think of any other new one that's not inside this list, feel free to type in the chat box. Yeah. Number 1, make the fake look real. Okay, means 无中生有. 无中生有. How to do that? You know that you have a spy in your camp. Okay, in your camp, you have a spy in your camp, and you may want to create a fake news, and then let the spy go and bring it back to their own camp, to the enemy's camp. So it's 无中生有 so make fake look real. Or you go with the flow. You go with the flow, you know who is that guy already, you know who's a spy, you just add blur. You don't want to single him out to say that I know you are the spy. You add blur. So when you have information, you may want to keep him away, because sometimes it's easier to keep the enemy close than not knowing who is the enemy. Okay, so either you prefer a 遮天拐, or you prefer a 天风狗. 遮天拐 means a visible threat. 天风狗 means unobservable or invisible threat. So which one would you prefer? Or next Next, you can also use this spy to bring back certain news, so that this news can create or sow discord in the enemy's camp, or to destabilize them, something like that. So this is a reverse double agent. Or if you know who is the spy, you may want to buy out the spy, say, okay, I pay you double the fee, you work for me. Something like this. Or there are many, many more. So if you can think of any other, type in the chat box. Yeah. Okay. So with this, I've completed 3 stratagems. Right? Can you recall what are the 3 stratagems? Any questions so far? All right. So if no further question, then maybe we stop here for a break, a 10-minute break. And then if you have question, continue to type in the chat box. I will answer them when we are back from the break. Yeah. Okay. So I'll start the timer. 10 minutes time. I see you back. Yeah.